Live from the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet is proud to welcome you into coverage of College of Staten Island men's basketball. Tonight, it's the featured event of the evening where the CSI Dolphins take on the York College Cardinals, a pair of 7 and 13 teams coming into tonight's game. Good evening, everybody. I'm David Pizzuto alongside Mike Babuski. And Mike, we got treated to a women's win over York, and now in what could potentially be their final game ever against the Cardinals, it's the Dolphins trying to avenge an early season loss at the hands of York, taking on the York men.
Yeah, you know, Dave, for the men's basketball team, they were able to break their 3-game losing streak on Saturday afternoon as they were able to defeat Medgar Evers in what was really an exciting basketball game by a final score of 96-95, and they're going to look to continue that success here tonight against a York Cardinal team, like you mentioned, Dave, that defeated the Dolphins by 15 earlier this year.
Yeah, and that was part of a 3-game winning streak at the time for York College. Since that point, Mike, they lost 5 in a row, and then they come into this game after a win against Lehman. Both of these teams coming off big wins. The Dolphins were here on Saturday, Mike, a game that you covered with Ricky Keeler, and the Dolphins hosted Medgar Evers College, another team that they had lost to earlier in the season, and came out with a very thrilling 96-95 win over the Cougars. That was a fun game to cover, I'm sure, for you guys, a fun game to watch for me. And the Dolphins are looking to ride that high into this one.
Yeah, you know, it really was a great game for the Dolphins, Dave. You know, it's a team that certainly at times has struggled offensively this year. This men's CSI basketball team is, you know, they're coming into today's game averaging just under 69 points a game, able to put up 96 points in that game, 50 in the first half, 46 in the second half, and Adeola Latunji really got back on track, Dave, in that game for the Dolphins as he shot 10 of 17 from the field, finishing with 29 points to go along with 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 turnovers. 4 steals, I should say, and the Dolphins needed every single one of those points as they were able to hang on to for a 1-point win in a game that came down to the final possession.
Yeah, and Adeola, just a 3-year senior for the Dolphins, working his way higher and higher on the CSI all-time scoring list. And, you know, Mike, he's one of only 2 players averaging in double figures. The other is Joe Ziris, who really over the last few weeks has really emerged as the second answer for the Dolphins offensively. He's now up to 10.9 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, is also second on the team in that category. When Joe is firing on all cylinders, so is this Dolphins offense.
Yeah, you know, he adds so much to the team, especially, Dave, because he has the ability to score down low, and, you know, you could feed Joe the basketball, and he's able to post his way up inside and, you know, really get good high percentage shots. And, you know, again, for the Dolphins, it's the continuing of the development, the continuing to get ready for Division II play. And, you know, in spite of the struggles that the Dolphins have this year, Dave, they're still over 500 at home. They're 6-4 at home. They have 3 home games left, including the game tonight. And they're going to look to finish the season up strong here at the Tank.
Yeah, the Dolphins have not won back-to-back games this season since November when they hosted New York Tech for a win. That's a Division II team. And then they beat a very good Division III Johnson & Wales team here at the College of Staten Island Tank. And, you know, that's part of those 2 wins that the Dolphins have had at home. Mike, the Dolphins are just 1-9 away from home, but they play well in this building. They take a lot of pride in playing here. And speaking of pride, today is Pride Night. We got a lot of fans behind us who have collected to watch the game. And, you know, the Dolphins really want to finish strong at home. 3 out of their final 4 at home. They want to finish strong here.
Yeah, and, you know, Dave, for a lot of these players, you know, the players that aren't freshmen, you know, they're used to competing for championships and competing in the CUNYAC Conference and competing against this York College team. And, you know, for the coaches, especially head coach T.J. Tibbs, you know, we had an opportunity to speak to him a little bit on Saturday, you know, about the CUNYAC Conference and what it means to both the coaches and the players. And, you know, for those players and coaches, Dave, this is an emotional thing. This is, something where, they've competed in some cases for years and years within the conference, and to see that winding down now, that they want to go out finishing strong here to finish this 2019-20 season.
Yeah, and to finish with a win in the final game, potentially between these two programs, is definitely something that the Dolphins are looking at, especially with no promise of the postseason ahead. Mike, why don't we turn the page and look at the Dolphins' opponents tonight, the York College Cardinals. Now, they come in very different than the Dolphins. They are a very balanced team. They have 4 players who are averaging in double figures, 5 actually who are averaging 9 points and over. So they spread it around a lot. They're averaging 72 points per game. They've stumbled a little bit in their last 3. They only were able to score 55 against Brooklyn, 52 at Hunter, and then they scored just 66 in a win against Lehman at home. They, too, are trying to right the ship offensively, Mike, and figure things out for a complete 40 minutes.
Yeah, and Dave, just like the Dolphins ended a 3-game losing streak with their win over Medgar Evers on Saturday, York went into their game against Lehman coming off of a 5-game losing streak before coming away with a big 4-point win against Lehman College. So both teams have struggled a little bit in the second half of the season. Both teams are looking to finish the season up strong. But like you mentioned earlier, Dave, the Cardinals still competing within the CUNYAC Conference and looking to get situated within the CUNYAC tournament. The Dolphins not a participant in the CUNYAC tournament here this year.
Yeah, and only the top 6 teams make the CUNY tournament, and York is that 6th seed in the CUNY. They're at 3-7. Now, this game does not matter to the CUNY standings, but, looking at it, shaping out, York definitely wants to have a big, game against the College of Staten Island, kind of springboard them to their back half of the their last games of the season to try and make that 6th and final spot.
And, Dave, a lot of similarities between these two teams, as both teams have struggled mightily on the road. York College 1-7, the Dolphins 1-9. So the Dolphins coming in with that advantage, playing here at the Tank here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as for York, just kind of rounding them out, we talked about their multiple scoring threats on the floor. Divine Chisholm, 14.9 points per game. You got Donald Hartley Jr. averaging 14.4, and Jay Bookhart averaging 14.1. That's 3 players, Mike, all averaging 14 plus a game.
Yeah, they have a diversified offensive attack, and they're going to look to use that here tonight against the CSI Dolphin team. They're averaging just under 73 points a game. They've allowed just under 77. And, for the CSI Dolphins, Dave, the Dolphins allowing a very uncharacteristic 81 points a game so far here this year.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with the early parts of the season, Mike. But we've seen the Dolphins give up points in bunches and also, come up really good defensively, especially in their wins this season. Taking out that Medgar Evers win, they only gave up 66 to Lehman. They only allowed 59 to Hunter College, which has really turned things around after a dreadful start to the season. And then they gave up 67 to CCNY, 57 to Johnson & Wales, and 63 to New York Tech. So, Mike, when the Dolphins are really on point defensively, they're winning a lot of basketball games.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, Dave. And, this CSI men's basketball team has had a little bit of trouble rebounding the basketball as well, getting out rebounded by about 10 rebounds a game. But in the game against Medgar Evers, they were able to out-rebound the Cougars in that game. And, that's what they're going to need to do here tonight, Dave. Limit York College to one opportunity on the defensive end and, try to rebound the basketball.
Very good point Mike makes. The Dolphins are a negative 10.1 in rebounds per game this season. York is a +4 in that same category. That's going to be a telling statistic that we'll talk about throughout the evening here tonight. So what Mike and I will do is we will step aside. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the introduction of our starting lineups, and we'll get you ready for opening tip between the Cardinals of York and the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island. Stay with us. It's men's basketball right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
Welcome back here to the College of Staten Island. We're getting set for the introductions of our starting lineup. You see the final few seconds ticking off your screen for a pregame, and we'll get set for the intro of those starters. Let us start with the starters from York. We'll take it down to Mike Babuski. Mike?
Thanks a lot, Dave. As you see the York starters up on your screen, number 2, Divine Chisholm. Number 3, Donald Hartley Jr. Number 10, Mambi Corseni. Number 11, Jade Bookhart. And number 12, Akil Vaughn. For your College of Staten Island, it's the same starting 5 we've seen for the last couple of games. Number 2, Adiola Latunji. Number 3, Rigo Desteem. Number 5, Austin Mick. Number 24, Joseph Ziris. And number 42, James Delahanty, the Dolphins coach by T.J. Tibbs in his 3rd season. Jamil Gist, the coach for your college. And, you know, Dave, we mentioned earlier the Dolphins breaking a 3-game losing streak with their big win against Medgar Evers, looking to continue their winning ways here this afternoon.
Yeah, that was a really fun game to watch, fun game to cover for you guys. A day where the Dolphins really needed a win to kind of spell the end of that 3-game losing streak that Mike mentioned, and the Dolphins got a lot of offense in the game. I remember in the game, Mike, at halftime, you interviewing T.J. Tibbs and him saying, yeah, good offense, but we didn't play really well defensively. And really, it was a combination. You know, the Dolphins struggled defensively at times, but Medgar also had a really good day shooting the ball. And the Dolphins are hoping York does not have that same, that same success today.
Yeah, I mean, Dimitri Weeks was unconscious in that game, Dave. He shot 12 of 14 from the field, and a lot of those were very tough shots with hands in his face, and he was still able to hit them. And Kennison McIntosh also with a big game. Those two players combined for 22 of 28 shooting in the game, Dave. And they just shot very well, but the Dolphins certainly looking to come out and play better and not allow 95 points here this afternoon like they did on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll only accept giving up 95 if they score 96, Mike. We'll make that the new rule.
Absolutely, Dave. And, the way that team had struggled offensively over the last several games, I'm sure they felt really good being able to score that many points on Saturday.
For sure, and I attended the Dolphins shoot-around this afternoon, and, it was really light-spirited, a lot of joking around, a lot of fun, a lot of smiles, and when you get down to this point of the season, you want to make sure that your kids are having a good time as well, but when they step onto the court, all business for the Dolphins. They really want to take this win here against York, a team that beat them in the early parts of the season. It's definitely one of the pointed things the Dolphins are looking to.
Yeah, and, York finds themselves 3 games in the loss column out of 5th place, so they're really looking to hold their position in 6th, Dave.
Dolphins will have the opening possession. It is Mick to start, wrapping it around. Latunji over to Desteem, and now Delahanty at the top of the arc. He's been known to hit a few threes to start the game, but that first pass is intercepted. Getting in the way there was Carisi.
Yeah, good defensive play that time by the Cardinals, Dave. Latunji broke free to the basket.
So now spinning it around here, Donald Hartley Jr. gets it over to Bookhart. And now inside and driving is Carisi, but he opts out to Chisholm. Chisholm with a falling away jumper, short jumper, kiss off the glass is good, and it's 2-0 York.
Boy, that was a tough shot there by Chisholm for the first basket of the game.
Chisholm, as we mentioned, leading York, 14.9 points per game. He's shooting just under 42% for the season. Delahanty looking inside to Ziris, now backing his way in. Short hook jumper is no good, but Delahanty gets the offensive board, fumbled it a bit, and now it's into the hands of Divine Chisholm. The sophomore finds Bookhart off the sideline. He gains the paint, now wants to opt out and does to Hartley. Donald Hartley Jr., a freshman, one of only 3 on this York roster. They're spinning around top of the arc, and now a give wide open underneath, and the layup is good by Akil Vaughn. Head coach T.J. Tibbs wants to talk it over.
Yeah, that time a kind of easy basket, Dave, on that second possession for the Cardinals. So head coach T.J. Tibbs just wanting to have an opportunity to talk to his players. They, going to have to make it a little bit tougher for the Cardinals than that last possession.
Yeah, and for the Dolphins, they are not a team that they've done it before. They have come back from distances down. We even saw it on Saturday against Medgar. I think they were down by as many as 9 or 10 in the second half and came back to win. But it's not a team really built to come back night after night, Mike. And, only a minute and 35 seconds in, Dolphins want to make sure they play clean here.
Yeah, and they had a pretty good offensive sequence, Dave, on their second possession. Ziris had a good opportunity at the basket. He just missed it. And then on their first possession, Latunji breaking to the basket, but the pass from Delahanty didn't get through.
Another inside give, and Ziris thought he was interfered with. No call on the play. Chisholm drives the other way. Left side of the court working against Destine. And they will reset things here with Hartley. He's being worked over by Latunji. Hartley now dribbles to his right, works it around Bookhart. Bookhart looking underneath to Vaughn. Vaughn might have taken too many steps. Now we're going to have a foul whistled against Delahanty instead.
Yeah, so Delahanty will get called with the foul, Dave. That will be his first, the team's first. So the Dolphins, with 2 turnovers on their first 3 possessions, need to get on track offensively.
So after the reset here with the 20-second shot clock, York will begin again. Chisholm, top of the arc. He wants to drive, opts out, 3-pointer by Carisi, no good. And the baseline rebound by Ziris. Ziris now skates up over the timeline, gives way to Mick. Mick to Destine, spots up from 3-point range, no good, back iron. And the rebound collected by Vaughn. Only red jerseys that time. Approaching for the rebound, and now a spot jumper from long distance, no good by Hartley Jr. And Adeola Latunji collects, and here come the Dolphins the other way. Still looking for their first points. Latunji gets inside, off the glass, and in, and the foul.
Yeah, that's a good way to break a scoreless streak in the beginning of the game day. Feed the ball to Latunji, let him take it to the basket. He scores the basket, draws the foul, and we'll go to the 3-point line with an opportunity to make it a 3-point play.
Carisi picked up the foul. First foul against York tonight. Latunji to the free throw line where he's been steady all season, drains it, and the Dolphins are a point away.
There's 74% from the line, Fadiola coming into the game.
Dolphins employing a little bit of a press. York able to break out of it, opting out of the three-pointer and stepping up to take the baseline jumper was Bookhart. He gets that to count.
Nice shot by Bookhart. He's averaging 14 a game, gets his first points.
Bookhart, one of 2 juniors on this York team. They have 1 senior. The rest underclassmen, freshmen and sophomores. Turnover for the Dolphins as Latunji tried to find Delahanty. That was broken up, and here comes York the other way. 3-point lead, looking for more. Chisholm has his 2 fingers in the air. Offensive set employed. Hartley looking down low. Carisi opts out. Hartley for 3, no good. Delahanty all over the rebound. Destine now finding Mick on the right sideline. Mick wants to drive, gets bumped. Ball goes out of bounds, but we're going to have a foul whistled against Donald Hartley Jr., 5'11" guard from Harlem.
Yeah, that time Austin felt he had a little bit of room, took the ball to the basket strong, and drew the foul.
And now Mick looking inside. That's off the leg of Hartley Jr. 20 seconds will be on the shot clock. Dolphins have started the game just 1 of 4 from the field. Ziris intercepts it from Mick, gets it back. Destim wants to gain the paint, does. Puts one over the trees, no good. The rebound collected by Vaughn. So Vaughn hitting the glass hard. That's his 3rd rebound. He's got all 3 York rebounds to start the game. Chisholm being met by Delahanty, loses him. Now looks across court. Drop down low inside to Vaughn, and he stepped on the baseline, so he'll be out of bounds.
Yeah, so that time it's the Cardinals turning the ball over for the first time here tonight.
So we have a full timeout. It's a media timeout. We'll step away, take a break. Early stages, York leads the Dolphins. It's 6-3 after 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Now Taylor looks to drive, and a beautiful bounce pass finished on the slam by Adeola Latunji. What a feed by Christian Taylor.
It was such a beautiful play, and Christian saw it, came open, put in the perfect bounce pass, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead.
Jumper no good, and Christian Taylor gets the rebound. We're under 2 minutes to play. Touchdown pass, Cartel, drop off to Latunji. Nice bit of ball movement by the Dolphins. The first pass from Taylor to Cartalis, and then Cartalis to Latunji.
Every highlight reel finish, every home game, all season long, catch all of the live action on CSI Sportsnet.
We are back here at the Tank in the early stages. Just saw a commercial there for CSI Sportsnet, Mike. That's the genius of Joe Foreman, hard at work in the office, putting together that one, and of course, some more genius by Adeola Latunji. He's got the Dolphins' only point.
Yeah, you know, Dave, nice new spot there. Good job by Joe. And, you know, again, CSI men's basketball team starting out a little slow here this afternoon, Dave. Just 1 basket through the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, 1 basket through 5 shots. So they're shooting just 20% here. Everything pretty well contested by York. York 3 for 6 from the floor, but the Dolphins are a possession away as Mick controls following the York turnover. This is Destim. Gives it over to Cartalis, who had checked in on that last timeout. Now Ziris left alone. Baseline 3 is good.
Yeah, so Ziris missed his first inside shot, but buries the 3-pointer. Ties the game at 6.
And since the score was 0-0, we have our first tie. Offensive foul. Hold on, York. It'll be on number 3, Donald Hartley Jr., as you get another look at Ziris' 3.
Yeah, so that's a big foul on Hartley Jr., Dave, because he picks up his second personal through just 4.5 minutes, and it looks like he's going to check out of the game.
And Hartley easily York's best 3-point shooter this season. He's made 39 threes in 130 attempts. He's averaging 14.4 per game, but now he's going to have to watch a little bit from the seats. Destim, nice move. Tried to gain the baseline, but it went off of Destim after interfering with it was Chisholm. And Dolphins with another turnover. That's their 4th.
Yeah, so we go off to a little bit of a slow start, Dave. 0 for 2 from the field, and now a turnover.
And Mick forcing a turnover. Nice job by the Dolphins. Destim tried to put one up, off balance, no good. And Vaughn gets the rebound, he loses it. Turnover for York again.
Good job by Rigo, sticking with it after the missed shot.
Latunji, open look 3, that's short. And the rebound is won by York. Parisi, he gives over to Chisholm. Chisholm, once again, waving his hands in the air, calling out the offensive play. They give us to Bookhart. He wants to look down low to Vaughn. Vaughn being double teamed down low and still is able to get up over Latunji for the layup.
Yeah, that time Vaughn able to use his size to hit the floater. He now has 4.
Well, York back up by a deuce, 8-6. Mick, left-handed dribble, gives over to Latunji. Latunji from the free throw line. That jumper is good.
Adiola with 5 already, Dave. He's coming in averaging 21 points a game. Dolphins averaging 69 a game as a team.
And the press employed and successful for the Dolphins. Cartalis driving in, and Latunji is there to clean it up.
Yeah, Latunji grabs the weak side rebound, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead of the game.
30-second timeout called by York College, and we will keep it right here. So the Dolphins might go down by a quick 2 and then get a basket, get a turnover, and another basket.
Yeah, the Adiola Latunji's 3 for 4, Dave. The rest of the Dolphin team is just 1 of 7, but they've done a nice job. They've turned up the pressure defensively a little bit. They now have 5 York turnovers here that they've been able to take advantage of, and they have their first lead of the game at 10-8.
Yeah, and of course, at one point, CSI was a -2 in the turnover column. They had committed 4 turnovers to York's 2, and since then, York has had 3 turnovers, even though the Cardinals are shooting 57% from the field. They've hurt themselves, and the Dolphins' press has been a problem. The Dolphins are going to go right back to it. Almost another turnover, but getting away from it was Bookhart. Now looking down low, getting some space, being taken away by Latunji. Got a little interfered with, and it's going to be Dolphins basketball. As getting back well was Bookhart to interrupt what would have been a fast break. 6th turnover in 6 minutes and 12 seconds here for York.
Yeah, York only turns it over like 18 times a game, Dave, so Dolphins doing a nice job defensively.
Ziris with a step-back 3.
Ziris with his second three-pointer of the game. He came in shooting 31% from the three-point line.
Dolphins again putting pressure on the inbounds. Now they relent. Now they pick it back up. Velasquez, who had checked in, spotting up defensively. And there's an interruption on the dribble by Jean-Luc Etienne. Let's get another look at that step-back 3 for Ziris. Second 3 of the game for him. Latunji's got 7, and Ziris has 6. That's the Dolphins scoring so far. York after the foul. This is Chisholm now, gaining the paint, putting up the short floater in the lane. That one is good. And the Cardinals interrupt the CSI run.
Yeah, so Chisholm able to get inside the paint and make it a three-point game.
This is Mick now. Now to Latunji inside. His shot was blocked, but he was fouled. Contact there by Carisi. And Latunji's going to go back to the line. He's 1 for 1 from the line tonight.
Yeah, so the second appearance at the free throw line here for Adiola as he looks to build on this three-point Dolphin lead and hits the first.
Adiola has made and missed in spurts for the Dolphins at times from the free throw line. 74%. And he's gotten to the line almost twice as much as the next CSI player in line, which is Ziris. Dolphins have a 5-point lead. It's their biggest of the game. Chisholm was looking inside and has to dribble back out and gives way to Carisi. Carisi dribbles right, gives over, and now almost getting the lane was E10. Gives it up over. I think Ziris might have gotten a piece of that shot by Carisi. The rebound corralled by Latunji. Latunji has it. He drives the lane, skips off of his foot, and out of bounds.
Yeah, that time Latunji tried to take it to the basket. Good defense that time by the Cardinals to force the turnover, and it will be Cardinal basketball.
On that last rush up the floor, Latunji got credit for the block and the rebound. And there is an alley-oop attempt from E10 over to Vaughn, incomplete. It'll just count as another turnover for York. That'll be their 7th of the game.
Yeah, they were trying to set up Vaughn for the possible jam, but the ball went through his hands. Another turnover here for the Cardinals.
This is Mick now, driving baseline, finding Cartalis in three-point range. No good, but the long rebound is won by Velasquez. Dolphins moving it around quickly. Latunji to Mick. Mick drives inside, steps out, gives over to Cartalis, floating jumper in the lane, and gets the friendly bounce off the rim. And the Dolphins now have a 7-point lead.
Yeah, the first basket of the game for Cartalis, and Dolphins with the early rebounding advantage, 7-5.
CSI on an 11-2 run, as we'll have a media timeout. Christian Kopech will enter the game when we come back off of this break. 11:47 remaining here at the Tank. It's CSI 17 and York 10. Stay with us. Men's basketball here on CSI Sportsnet. Mike, something to consider too is that John Jay only has one timeout left.
Latunji feeding the ball back up to Desteve. His open three-pointer is good.
Now the Dolphins have complete control. John Jay's just used their final timeout, Mike.
Dave, what a big game for Rigo Desteve here tonight for the Dolphins. Rigo now 6 of 11 from the field, including 5 of 9 from the three-point line.
Every big shot, every home game, all season long. Catch all of the action live at CSI Sportsnet.
Welcome back here to the Tank, here the campus of the College of Staten Island. The CSI Dolphins fell behind early in this one, but an 11-2 run has put them up by 7 here as we have our second media timeout. And Mike, the Dolphins are starting to string together some better offense now. They've improved their shooting numbers, but really York with their turnovers have damaged themselves.
Yeah, you know, the Dolphins have done a nice job on the defensive end. Already 7 turnovers for York College. We mentioned earlier, Dave, this is a York College team that averages just 18 turnovers a game. So the Dolphins coming out doing a nice job pressuring the ball and pressuring the Cardinals into turnovers. Dolphins with 7-point lead.
10 of the Dolphins' 17 points off of York turnovers. So as we reset here with York's offense, Jay Bookhart, left-handed dribble, finding Chisholm. Chisholm inside to Vaughn. Vaughn had a shot blocked by Ziris, but York is there for the rebound. Chisholm inside, and he gets a bump from Velasquez.
Boy, we watched on the inside, Dave, as we watched Vaughn and Ziris bang against each other, and nothing called, and then a touch foul on the basketball will give the Cardinals the basketball at 20 on the shot clock.
Velasquez now with 2 fouls. He stays in the game. Bookhart, mid-range jumper, no good, and the rebound is going to be won by the Dolphins because Vaughn was out of bounds when he collected it.
Yeah, so Kopech checking into the game, Dave, for the Dolphins, and the Dolphins playing pretty well here, like you mentioned, on a run to open up a 7-point lead.
Yeah, it's still an 11-2 run. It's lasted about 3.5 minutes. Velasquez in the corner for Cartalis, looking for Kopech. Back to Velasquez. They work it around. Cartalis gains it. Another floater. That one a little too short and out of bounds.
Yeah, that time Andrew kind of short on the ball a little bit, Dave, up to the rim. It didn't quite get there, and now it'll be the Cardinals with the basketball.
Yeah, Cartalis working that part of his game more and more, known as a three-point shooter, but has attacked on a number of occasions. This is Chisholm now, around, and now for a three-point attempt. That was short by Etan, but then the putback is successful by Hernandez.
Yeah, that time Hernandez able to stick with it off of the short three-point attempt to make it a 5-point game.
Guillermo Hernandez came into the game on that last media timeout. Dolphins by 5. Latunji inside, a lot of contact, nothing called. And Hernandez collects the rebound. York penetrating inside, give to Hernandez. Nice pass, and it was taken away by Velasquez. Cross court to Cartalis, comes inside, and he gets fouled.
Yeah, nice defensive play that time by the Dolphins, turning it quickly into offense, and Cartalis will go to the free throw line as that foul will be on Jay Bookhart. That's going to be his first 15 foul for the Cardinals.
And Cartalis will go to the free throw line. Doesn't get here often. This is only his 17th and 18th free throw of the season.
He's 50% on those first 16 attempts, Dave, and he hits the first.
Rigo Desteve has come back in. Alawele Kila has come in. for York, and Cartalis makes both of his free throws, puts the Dolphins back up by 7. Has a travel violation on York. That'll be their 8th turnover of the first half.
Yeah, and that was Kiwa with the turnover, Dave, having just checked into the game, and a little bit of an unforced error that time by the Cardinals, but the York turnover problems continue. 10 turnovers, Dave, through one half of the first half.
Yeah, Dolphins 12 points off those turnovers. Destine finding Kopech. They work it around. Latunji for 3, no good. And Hernandez collects the rebound. We're going to have a foul whistled. That's going to be on York. Getting in there late was Bookhart. That's going to be his second personal. The Dolphins are going to have another opportunity here offensively.
Yeah, Bookhart kind of looking around, wondering if that foul was on him. Kopech was kind of coming out from underneath the basket. 16 fouls on the Cardinals.
Ziris, inside give. Latunji, fall away jumper from the baseline, no good. And Chisholm gets the rebound. Chisholm, coast to coast from the free throw line, off the glass high, no good. Hernandez gets the rebound. He was fouled. Trying to make a pass, and that'll be against Rigo Destine.
Yeah, you know, Hernandez has really just checked into the game, Dave, and he's already caused a little havoc for the Dolphins, as he's now credited with 4 rebounds, Cardinal basketball.
Yeah, 4 rebounds in 3 minutes for Guillermo Hernandez. Bookhart controls. He's been quiet here. From the baseline, his turnaround jumper, no good. And Kopech gets the rebound, has to recollect, and gives it over to Latunji.
Boy, Cardinals taking a lot of tough shots here, Dave, in the first half.
Yeah, well contested. As Kopech now finds Ziris. He's got 2 3-pointers. He now stops from the free throw line, no good. Keela gets the rebound. Chisholm. Both teams a little quiet here from the field these last few minutes. Dolphins are one of their last 7, and York hasn't scored in about 2 minutes. Keela now reverses his feet, goes inside. The layup is good, and the foul.
Yeah, that was a nice shot that time, as Kiwa able to float that one up to the rim, get the basket, and draw the foul. So he'll go to the free throw line with an opportunity to cut into this 5-point Dolphin lead.
First foul on Joe Ziris. The Dolphins number 24, and it's the York's number 24 at the free throw line. And the 3-point play is completed as Austin Mick will check back in, replacing Andrew Cartalis.
Kiwa was just 3 of 13 from the free throw line, Dave, before hitting that free throw.
Dolphins up by 4 with possession. Under 9 minutes to play, first half. Dolphins have led for a majority of it. Latunji looking inside. Ziris, left-handed dribble. There's the short hook shot. Rattles in and out. And York comes the other way. Chisholm. Keela putting one up. He got contact from Ziris. Ziris going to get called for the foul. TJ Tibbs does not like the call. You see him at the bottom of our screen. But Ziris is going to be called for his second foul in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, Ziris with 2 personals, both teams with 16 fouls apiece.
As Mike mentioned, Keela has had his struggles from the free throw line, just now 4 of 15 for the season. As York will bring in, we'll re-bring in Hartley Jr. and Bookhart again. And coming in to replace Ziris was Cartalis.
Ziris goes to the bench, 2 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, and that 7-point Dolphin lead is now down to 3.
And before the Dolphins can inbound, Akil Vaughn has rechecked into the game, replacing Hernandez, who did very well in his absence. Dolphins lead is cut to 3. They've led by as many as 7 here in the first half. Mick almost stumbles, but does get it to Kopech. Hands it off to Cartalis. Cartalis for 3, and he was fouled and just missed it.
Yeah, he thought he had a good opportunity at that one, but now Andrew will get to go to the free throw line to shoot 3. You mentioned earlier, Dave, Andrew coming in shooting 50% from the free throw line this year.
Yeah, only 16 free throws in the entire season. He's about to have 5 here in the first half. He's 3 for 3.
That breaks a mini 4-0 York College run.
Second free throw is good for Cartalis. That'll bring in Chisholm to replace Bookhart, who, according to my count, it's his third personal. So Jay Bookhart, who is averaging 14.1 points per game, is going to see some time on the bench. The free throw is no good. A violation against 14, Christian Kopech. He went in a little too soon. That spoils a potential three-point play for Cartalis. Here's a touchdown pass the other way. Keela, coast to coast, blocked down by Latunji.
Boy,
beautiful block.
That gets the crowd up on their feet, Dave.
Absolutely. As Latunji now gives way to Mick. Fumbled it at first. Gives it over to Destim. Destim drives, and the finger roll is good.
Lots of excitement here at the tank. You have an opportunity to see that beautiful block by Latunji.
Nice job of catching that one, and then all the way down the other end, Rigo Destim finished the play off. Driving now, and now a three-pointer put up, air ball that time by Eten. And it will be the Dolphins the other way with their biggest lead, and rough the fingertips of Latunji. Latunji didn't want the ball there. And we're gonna have a step aside for a media timeout. That means us. So the Dolphins are up by 7, 23-16, 7:33 remaining here in the first half. Stay with us. More CSI basketball coming up next.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Welcome back here to the tank, the campus of the College of Staten Island. CSI has led for a majority of this contest after York took essentially a small lead. Their last lead at 8-6. The Dolphins have grown it since.
Yeah, Dave, the Cardinals came out, scored the first couple of baskets of the game. Since then, it's been a 23-12 Dolphin run for their 7-point lead.
York having problems collecting, and now a timeout is called off the inbound. So coming off of the timeout, York could not collect themselves, and they've had a little bit of problems, Mike, with the Dolphins press in this first half.
Yeah, you know, Dave, it seemed like they were almost surprised to see the press coming in off of the inbound pass and really weren't prepared to deal with it. They handed the ball off and got it inbounds, but called the timeout first. So the Cardinals now with 2 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, so this is a quick 30-second timeout, so the teams will regather, and you wonder if you're TJ Tibbs, if you're telling the Dolphins to continue the defensive intensity. That's been the difference. The Dolphins have forced 10 York turnovers here. The Dolphins are a +8 in points off turnovers, so you can see that's been really the difference in this game.
Yeah, neither team shooting the ball great so far here in the first half.
And another turnover and a steal by Latunji. Destim, crossover dribble, finds Mick. Mick penetrates, opts out. Destim drives in again. Latunji gains the paint, gets inside. Layup was no good, and Chisholm gets the rebound. Foul against Destim.
Boy, Destine picking up the foul well in the backcourt as the Dolphins now will go over the limit as Rigo picks up his second foul, the 17th foul for the Dolphins. So the Cardinals will go to the free throw line here to shoot a 1-and-1.
And Chisholm, very good free throw shooter for York. He's up near 80% for the season, and he gets to the free throw line pretty often. Bends at the knees, puts the first of the 1-and-1 up and in. And he'll earn himself a second chance. Chisholm's second free throw is up and good. And the Dolphins lead cut once again to 5. Austin Mick with the controls. Right-handed dribble, gets over to Destine. To Cartalis. Thought about a three, and now it's Kopak. Kopak from long distance, no good. Offensive rebound by Latunji. Layup is off the glass, no good. And Vaughn with the rebound.
Dolphins now just 7 of 24 from the field, Dave, here in the first half.
So Chisholm backpedals out, telling his teammates what to do, receives a screen. Chisholm stands up, three-point range, another short three. Chisholm this time from just outside the three-point line. Gets that one to go. We have a timeout. Replay. They're going to call that a two-pointer. We got the replay queued up just in case they wanted to look at that one again. Originally it was called a three and then reversed it to a two. Cartalis. Teardrop inside is good.
Yeah, that breaks a mini 4-0 Cardinal run, and the Dolphins regain a 5-point lead.
Dolphins again with the press, and breaking it this time was E10. E10 holds up, dribbles past two defenders. He gives over to Hartley Jr. That's another turnover. Cartalis receives the pass. Spot up, short jumper is good.
Yeah, Cartalis not hesitating on that one, putting the ball up. 10 points already for Cartalis here this afternoon.
A little more than half of the Dolphins' points off of York turnovers here tonight. Again, the Dolphins put up heavy pressure, and finding his way inside, wheeling and dealing, was Keela. Once again, CSI's lead cut to 5. Latunji driving inside, and he runs into the wall. That is the Keel Vaughn. And now it comes the other way, and now we have a quick whistle as Hartley was interfered with, I believe, with Austin Mick. That's his first. Dolphins will put substitutions in after this first free throw here by Donald Hartley Jr.
Hartley Jr., a 65% free throw shooter coming into the game here tonight.
He leads York now with 110 free throw attempts this season. Ziris is back in the game. So is Velasquez, who has 2 fouls. So both Ziris and Velasquez with 2 fouls check back into the game. They replace Latunji and Christian Kopeck.
Latunji going to the bench with 9 points on 3 of 9 shooting.
And a second free throw is missed, and after a battle for the rebound, Rigo Destine wins it. And here comes CSI the other way. Velasquez sees the lane, puts one up. A short jumper in the lane is good.
Velasquez showing some confidence on the offensive end with that floater, and the Dolphins lead back to 6.
So approaching the 5-minute mark left here in the first half. Dolphins up by 6. Keela opts back out to Chisholm, who's been quiet as of late, but gives that one down low to Vaughn, and he jams it home.
Yeah, nice high percentage shot that time, Dave, by the Cardinals to make it a 4-point game.
Cardinals staying within striking distance here. This is Velasquez. Right-handed dribble. Gets it over to Mick. Mick with a long-range three-pointer, no good. Was off on that one. The rebound was collected by E10. And here comes Chisholm the other way. Down the right sideline, dribbles between the legs, and we're going to have some working inside by Akil Vaughn against Christian Kopak, and he's going to get whistled for the foul, trying to create some separation.
So that's going to be the 8th team foul on the Cardinals, so the Dolphins to inbound underneath their basket.
Get a good look there at TJ Tibbs, who's working over the official. Call went his way on that, but he wanted a little something more. Planting a seed for next time. Desteem, short jumper, that's good.
So Rigo's hit his last 2 shots after missing his first 3. He has 4.
Turnover quickly by Cartalis. He put it straight up, no good, but gets his own rebound. What a good heads-up play by Andrew Cartalis. Now the Dolphins can reset with their half-court offense. Desteem wants a screen from Ziris, gets it. Desteem for 3, no good, air ball. And it's one easily. Here comes York down the other end. Hartley almost lost it and now does. So Hartley makes a great offensive explosive play against Desteem and then turns the ball over. It's another turnover for York there. 14th will step away. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half. It's CSI holding a 6-point lead. Stay with us.
Now Taylor looks to drive, and a beautiful bounce pass finished on the slam by Adiola Latunji. What a feed by Christian Taylor.
It was such a beautiful play, and Christian saw it, came open, put in the perfect bounce pass, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead.
Jumper no good, and Christian Taylor gets the rebound. We're under 2 minutes to play. Touchdown pass, Cartel, drop off to Latunji. Nice bit of ball movement by the Dolphins. The first pass from Taylor to Cartalis, and then Cartalis to Latunji.
Every highlight reel finish, every home game, all season long, catch all of the live action on CSI Sports Net.
Welcome back here to the Tank. The Dolphins with a 6-point lead, 31-25. And Mike, the Dolphins have led for a majority of this first half. Their biggest lead was 7, and they've kind of hovered around this lead most of the game. 4 points, 3 points, 5 points, 6 points.
Yeah, they have, Dave, and they've really taken advantage of some good, strong defense, forcing the Cardinals into 15 turnovers. This is a York Cardinal team, Dave, averaging just 18 turnovers a game, already 15 with 3:47 left in the first half.
Yeah, really big-time defensive game for the Dolphins, as they also have 16 points off of those York turnovers, so that's a little better than half of their scoring has come as a direct result of York miscues. Mick now. Desteem back to Mick. They work it around. Mick gets it back. Give over to Desteem. Inside give to Ziris. Nice look by Desteem.
Beautiful extra pass that time by Rigo as he picks up his first assist of the game. Dolphins with their biggest lead of the afternoon.
Biggest lead of the game, and Cartalis with another steal. The Dolphins will get it back again. Mick for 3.
I'm sorry, Dave. Big 3-pointer by Mick. Dolphins' biggest lead of the game.
11-point advantage for the Dolphins. They get whistled for the foul here. Austin Mick, you get another look at that 3-pointer, and that's a result off of that great steal by Andrew Cartalis to set that whole situation up. 16 York turnovers, 21 Dolphins points off.
Yeah, Mick shooting over 37% from the 3-point line for the Dolphins, leading the team in 3-point percentage.
And going to the line will be Chisholm after the foul. The Dolphins are over the limit. Still a 1-and-1 opportunity here for York. First of the 1-and-1 is no good, but it's a very long rebound. It is won by Desteem.
Yeah, that time it looked like Kilo was going to get to it. Rigo, good hustle, came away with the defensive rebound.
So now Mick with a chance to extend CSI's lead. It's already its biggest it's been. Ziris gets a lane. Velasquez for 3. That's too strong. And are we going to have a foul here on Ziris? I'm going to need a replay of this one, Joe. Ziris going to get called for his 3rd foul. And, Mike, I don't know. Ziris is protesting a lot, and that Looked like a ghost foul that time.
Yeah, it might have been, Dave, but that's a huge foul on Ziris. That's his third as we have a replay showing you a little bit of the end of it as we see him come in. And
gee whiz.
Boy, that's a tough call to pick up your third personal. And
that's not a tough call, Mike. That's an awful call.
It is, and he's going to have to come out now for the Dolphins. And, you know, he's been playing well. That's a little bit of a blow to this CSI Dolphin team, as it will be free throws coming up here for the Cardinals.
And they do make the one, so 36-26 now with just under 3 minutes to play here in the first half. Dolphins still lead by double digits. Cartalis for three!
Boy, he's red hot, Dave. He has 13 points to lead all scorers here this afternoon.
He's been great defensively as well. Travel violation against York College. It's their 17th turnover of the first half.
Yeah, and the Dolphins with a 13-point lead, 2:26 remaining, as you have an opportunity to see Cartalis bury that three-pointer. Andrew, 4 of 8 shooting, 4 of 5 from the line for his 13 points.
And after a very slow start, the Dolphins have now gone to 40% shooting in this first half. Kopech inside, a miscommunication with Latunji, and that'll be a turnover for the Dolphins. That's their 8th of the half. Hartley, who's had some struggles with the basketball in his hand, crossover dribble, fronted, and gives over to Chisholm, who travels. Chisholm now with his third turnover, York's 18th.
Yeah, the turnovers continue for the Cardinals. They're really hurting themselves. Dolphins with 35 shots compared to just 22 for York, including 0 of 5 from the three-point line.
13-point lead for the Dolphins. Looking to grow it. This is their biggest lead. Mick, bounce pass, Latunji to Destine. 10 on the shot clock. Kopech, inside give, Latunji looking for space, off of his fingertips and out of bounds.
Yeah, so Adiola with his 4th turnover here in the first half, Dave, gives the Cardinals possession of the basketball.
Now Chisholm, working against 2 Dolphins. He's in trouble. Needs to find Hartley. Hartley does get it. Inside give. And that's going to be a foul on Destine on the dunk attempt by Vaughn.
Yeah, I think that might be on Latunji, Dave, not Rigo. And for Adiola, that will be his first foul. And he didn't love that call either, as you see. His hands go up in disgust after the foul was called. Dolphins in the double bonus. So that's going to send Vaughn to the free throw line to shoot 2.
Vaughn, 61% from the line. He misses the first. And York.
Cardinals, I'm sorry, Dave, now just 6 of 11 from the free throw line. They've been hurting themselves in a lot of ways, Dave, here in this first half.
Yeah, they've shot 46% in this half, but another missed free throw. They've had 13 less shots than the Dolphins, and that's a product, of course, of the turnovers. Cartalis, the handoff to Destine as we approach 1:15 to go in the half. Mick to Kopech, given some space. Was looking for Latunji, opts out, gives to Destine. 7 on the shot clock. Destine to Kopech. He loses it. And a foul on Kopech against Hartley Jr., who will have to earn his 2 from the free throw line. For Kopech now, that was his second turnover.
I see the officials out at the court, and I think they're discussing whether to call an intentional foul or not. And, you know, that was a pass that was just a foul. Boy, Dave, that's just a terrible call. I mean, the pass was intercepted, and Mick reached out and grabbed the player. And, you know, it's a relatively common basketball play, but the officials saw enough that they felt it should be an intentional foul. So not only, Dave, are the Cardinals going to get 2 free throws, but they're going to maintain possession of the basketball.
Yeah, it's not really a foul that you can argue a lot, Mike, but it certainly could have been let go, because that happens all the time. And when it does happen, 50% of the time it's just a normal foul. But you can't deny it. It was intentional to slow up Hartley, but in any event, one of them was made, and now a turnover.
Yeah, so the Cardinals fail to take advantage, Dave. They only get 1 point out of 2 possessions and 2 free throws on that sequence. So the Cardinals continuing to shoot themselves in the foot here, Dave, in this first half.
Yeah, we don't keep stats for records in a single half, Mike, but I don't remember ever seeing a men's basketball team commit 19 turnovers in one half. I mean, that's just an extraordinary number.
That's a lot of turnovers.
And a lot of them, like you mentioned before, just basically unforced.
Yeah, especially a team that's, done so well not turning the ball over all year long, and it's been a combination of good Dolphin defense and some mistakes by the Cardinals.
Cartalis for 3, no good. And the rebound won by Desteem. Dolphins with a 13-second differential between shot and game clock. It is Mick controlling with 10 on the shot clock. Gains the paint. Finds Cartalis for an open three-pointer, no good. And here comes the long rebound. Hernandez finds Hartley Hartley out of bounds. Looked like Hartley was out of bounds before he deflected it off of Delahanty.
Yeah, he might have been, but either way, Dave, that's going to be the 20th turnover for York, so they do get to 20 here in the first half, and with 15.4 seconds remaining, an opportunity for the Dolphins to get the last shot as you have an opportunity to see that replay, and Hartley pleading for the foul that was not going to be called.
That time I might have agreed with him on that one, or at the very least off of CSI out of bounds. Ziris, 5 on the shot clock, or on the game clock. Mick. Rigo Desteem, off balance, 3 at the buzzer! Now that's how you end the half. The Dolphins will go into the locker room with their biggest lead, 42-27 over York College.
Yes, you have an opportunity to see Rigo throw that shot up at the buzzer. And, we mentioned, Dave, that Rigo started the first half out slow. He missed his first 3 shots, but he finishes hitting 3 out of his last 4. So he goes into halftime for the Dolphins with 7 points, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead. It's 15.
All right, and now we're being joined here at the half by TJ Tibbs. TJ, a 15-point lead heading into the locker room. Did the first half go as planned for you guys?
Score-wise, yeah. I mean, we'll always take a 15-point lead against a very well-coached team and a team we've had trouble with in the past, not just this year, but in my years here. It's just we've just got to be a little more consistent in everything that we do. I mean, the press is giving us some fire. The guys are playing extremely hard, but I'm tired of saying that. I'm tired of saying the same thing over and over about us playing hard. We should be playing hard, and they are. But we need to take care of the ball. I don't know how many turnovers we have, but it feels like we have 20. We probably have about 13, and just careless ones. And ones when we turn it over and we give it right back. But I know the guy's going to go in there and clean it up, and we're going to be ready to go for the second half.
Well, you have 10 first-half turnovers. Your opponents of York have 20, and they're a team that does take care of the basketball pretty well. What has your team done defensively to force those miscues?
I think just sped them up a little bit. I know they're a team that likes to control tempo. They're best when the game is in the 60s, the 70s. I don't know where our best number is, but like I said, I think the kids had a little fire from the mega game and pressing, and I asked them what they want to do, and they want to kind of extend pressure. We're doing a good job on Chisholm and Hartley, who are 2 great players. Hartley for a freshman is a phenomenal play, and Chisholm's just been building on his freshman Rookie of the Year campaign, and the kids are just really playing hard, but we have to clean it up.
Coach, the team has been playing better offensively in the last couple of games. 50 points in the first half against Medgar Evers on Saturday, 42 points here this afternoon. Have you changed anything that's turned the offense around a little bit?
No, I think just like any other team, offense looks better when the ball just goes in the basket. I still thought we settled for a lot of shots in the first half. We don't understand why we're hot. If we get a couple of layups in a row, that doesn't mean we should toss up a 3. We should take the 3 when it's the right time. And we got to continue to put our foot on the gas. I will say offensively that we're getting some easier baskets because of the press. We're able to get some steals and get some layups and get some easier baskets because we do struggle sometimes. With Joe Ziris, who's been our main second option, and sometimes our go-to option, with 3 fouls, we got to find somebody who's going to help consistently score in the second half.
All right, great job, Coach, in the first half. Good luck in the second.
Thanks. And real quick, I just want to give a shout-out. One of the assistant coaches who's not here for York, Kevin Spees. He's an awesome dude, and he's fighting. He's fighting right now. He's fighting always. I'm thinking about him. I'm sure he's probably watching the game. But Kevin Spees is an awesome part of the CUNY Conference and the York program. And what he's fighting. I mean, he's a courageous guy. And it's looking down the other part of the sidelines and not seeing him. I really hope he gets healthy enough so he can come back and be a part of this because we miss you.
All right, well, we extend that same wishes to Kevin and his family as well. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, you got it. CSI head coach TJ Tibbs joining us here at the half. Mike, the Dolphins are up by 15 for a variety of reasons. Of course, the turnovers is something we've been hashing on and really focusing on the entire first half. But the Dolphins are getting contributions from a lot of different people, and TJ gave us some things to look for in the second.
Yeah, Dave, the Dolphins played very well in that first half. They got 13 points out of Andrew Cartalis, 8 from Ziris, 9 from Latunji, 7 from Desteem. So a lot of balanced scoring, Dave, for the Dolphins in that first half.
All right, so what Mike and I will do is step aside, take an extended break. When we come back, we'll get you some first half stats, and then we'll get you ready for the second half right here. The Dolphins are in control. They're up by 15 here at the break. It's CSI 42 and York 27. Stay with us. You're watching CSI Men's Basketball right here on CSI Sportsnet, CSIDolphins.com.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
When your car is damaged, where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4898.
Hi, Meals on Wheels. I'm Marco. I'm a college student, and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels. I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Welcome back to the Tank here on the campus of the College of Staten Island. We are at halftime between the CSI Dolphins and the York College Cardinals, and it has been a first half, Mike, that has been dictated by the Dolphins. They fell into a hole early but turned it around. They hovered with a 5-6 point lead for a majority of the half, and they really took off in the final few minutes. A 13-1 run over the last 5 minutes for the Dolphins has opened this one up to a 15-point advantage.
Yeah, Dave, the Cardinals scored the first 4 points of the game to jump out to a 4-0 lead, but really just about since that time, it's been a lot of CSI domination. They played well defensively. They forced 20 York College turnovers. York made some turnovers without really being that forced into them, and the Dolphins have outscored York on points off of turnovers 24-6, and that corresponds with your 42-27 Dolphin lead.
Yeah, if you look at the stats on your screen, you notice that they're not that bad for York with the exception of that last line, turnovers. 20 turnovers in the first half, and Mike has mentioned it a number of times. This is a team that averages about 18 turnovers per game per 40 minutes, and York is already up over that in the first half of play, and the Dolphins have made sure to punish York for their mistakes as they are a plus 18 in the points off turnovers column as well. Other than that, the stats have been just fine. You could see the huge discrepancy in shots taken. That obviously has to do with the turnovers, and Mike, we mentioned that rebounds was going to be a big focus in this game. And yes, York is winning the rebound battle, but the Dolphins are a +2 on the offensive glass. So that has resulted in some second chance points for the Dolphins as well. And they haven't allowed York a lot of second and third looks at the basket.
Yeah, Dave, the Dolphins grabbed 9 out of the first 16 rebounds, and they've been out-rebounded by York since that time. But really, all the turnovers by the Cardinals have really hurt them. And you mentioned, Dave, just 22 shots for York in that first half, including 0 of 5 from the three-point line. They've actually shot a better percentage than the Dolphins did in that first half, as you can see there up on your screen. But the Dolphins, 16 more shots, and they go into halftime with a 15-point lead. And, you could see some of the concern from head coach T.J. Tibbs when he came over and spoke to us at halftime. I'm sure he likes the 15-point lead, but feels the Dolphins will need to play better in the second half to maintain that lead over this York Cardinal team.
Yeah, so the Dolphins, of course, up by 15, but with a lot of work that they still have to do in the second half, according to their head coach, T.J. Tibbs, who always stays, Mike, making sure that his team is playing at their very best, no matter whether you're winning or losing.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Dave. And, as we look out onto the floor, we see the Cardinals warming up here in the second half. And, we've said it throughout the season as the Dolphins kind of wind down their CUNYAC schedule against CUNYAC opponents. But, Dave, just thinking back of all the years, all the great games between York and the College of Staten Island, and, some of the real disappointments that the Dolphins have had in the CUNYAC tournament have come against this York Cardinal team. You think back a few years ago, I think it was 2013, somewhere around that, where Dolphins had one of their best teams and they fell behind in the CUNYAC championship against York, and they came back and missed a three-pointer at the buzzer that would have tied it up and sent it into overtime, and the Cardinals ended up winning that CUNYAC championship. And, you mentioned earlier that heartbreak, I think, was back in 2007, I think was that other game that you were talking about, where the Dolphins led and lost it on a half-court three-point shot at the Nat Holman Gymnasium. And just a lot of games, Dave, where we traveled over into York, or York came here, and just a lot of great games between two really good CUNYAC basketball teams.
Yeah, CSI and York met 11 times in the CUNY tournament. CSI winning 6 out of those 7 times. And you mentioned, some of those losses. The Dolphins losing in that championship back in 2014. That was the year that the Dolphins were denied an entry into the Division III tournament when they had a really realistic shot of going to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four, you name it. They were one of the best teams in the country, and the NCAA Division III just completely shut us out of that tournament. York actually went on to win a game in that tournament. They later had to vacate the championship because of, I guess, some illegal activity that they were doing. But the Dolphins then in 2007 lost to York on a buzzer beater, 56-54. A member of that team, that York team, was Dennis Eccles, who left the Dolphins mid-year to join York College. Ended up not being eligible, and that was another big mar that the Dolphins were hit with. But listen, it was tough. Some tough losses, some bitter rivalries through the years. But it's born out of respect. I remember in the late '90s when John Calley used to go at it with one of the York players. I forget his name. And he later became an assistant coach for many years at York. And it was just such a great rivalry. And back in '99, the Dolphins won that championship with John Calley winning MVP. That game was at Lehman, and the Dolphins winning that. So a lot of great rivalries and a lot of great games between these two teams.
Yeah, Dave, and, you travel out to York, and they have a beautiful gymnasium out there. And, boy, the crowd always seemed to be really psyched when Staten Island came in. They were very emotional, and everybody was really into it. And it was, all in the spirit of fun and in competition. The teams always played hard against each other, but it really was a good rivalry and an exciting rivalry, and this might be the final 20 minutes these two teams play for a while.
Yeah, absolutely, and it brings up just a lot of fond memories of playing within the CUNY and knowing that on any given night anybody can win. This game, it's the 95th game between these two teams, 94th, I should say. So it goes back a long way. These two teams started playing back in 1978. York won the first meeting between these two teams. It was back in Staten Island at the former Sunnyside Gymnasium. And here we are those many years later with the Dolphins on the doorstep of Division II and with one half in the books, up by 15. York has the first possession. They work it around. Baseline, and finding Chisholm for a three-pointer, and that one's good. Mike, it's the first three-pointer of the game for York, who went 0 for 5 from the floor in the first.
Yeah, and exactly what York needed to start the second half.
That was their first basket in over 5 minutes, too, as their last basket came at 5:06 remaining in the first half. And that one is poked away from Latunji by Carisi. Carisi played sparingly in that first half. He picked up 2 quick fouls. Only played the 8 minutes. Dolphins trouble with the inbound, and finally Delahanty gets it. Gives over to Cartalis, and his floater right at the edge of the box is good.
Yeah, Cartalis turned into the lane, Dave, and there was no York defender near him, and York very fortunate to maintain possession on that one, as it looked like it might have gone off Chisholm. Instead, it will be ruled off of Desteem, so the Cardinals will maintain possession.
Cardinals averaging a turnover a minute in the first half. We'll see if they are successful in cleaning it up. And there's a nice reverse layup by Jay Bookhart. Bookhart now with four. Mick now, his team up by 12. Bounce pass to Latunji. Working one-on-one against Bookhart. He gains the baseline and is fouled. Bookhart does not like the call.
Yeah, that time Adiola found himself trapped along the baseline and fortunate to pick up the foul.
And now Bookhart with his third personal. Carisi also with 3. Now a baseline jumper for Cartalis, no good, but another offensive rebound for the Dolphins. Austin Mick thought about going inside. Instead, perimeter play over to Desteem. He gains the paint. Sheds Chisholm. His layup is no good. He was fouled. Chisholm's first personal.
Yeah, so Chisholm's going to pick up his first. The Cardinals with 2 quick team fouls here to start the second half.
Skied up in the air. Delahanty had it bobbled away from him, and it goes over to Hartley Jr. He looks inside. Nice give to Bookhart. Layup was no good, but his second chance is good.
Yeah, so the Cardinals have scored on their first 3 possessions here in this second half to make it a 10-point game.
Yeah, so York down by 15 at the break. Now see it down by 10, and we have a offensive foul called against Delahanty on the illegal screen, and that's his second. So first minute and 45 sees 3 quick whistles. And this is Chisholm now with a chance to reduce the lead to single digits. There's a beautiful inside give. Layup could not be converted there by Carisi.
And New York's done a nice job here in the second half, Dave. Through the first couple of minutes, they've already shaved 5 points off this Dolphin lead and an opportunity to knock off another 2 as Carisi will go to the free throw line. He's a 75% free throw shooter coming into the game tonight.
It's another area where York has struggled, just 50% from the line in the first half, and they missed the first here of the second half. Christian Kopech reports in for the Dolphins to replace Delahanty, who picked up foul number 3.
And, you know, Dave, the Dolphins have been uneven offensively all year long. And, you know, they've gone through these periods where they look really good offensively and then periods where they struggle. 1 basket here so far. Let's see if they can pick it up here in the second half.
Yeah, just about every game the Dolphins have lost this season, you can point to about a 5 or 6 minute stretch where they have just had a lot of problems scoring. This is Latunji inside, perhaps partially blocked on his way up. The rebound by York. That one popped out of the hands of Hartley. He does get it back and decides to give it back to Chisholm. Handoff over to Hartley. They work it around. Carisi gets it back, gives over to Chisholm for 3, no good, and Cartalis gets the rebound. Mick wants to run it up, 3/4 speed, gives over to Desteem. Desteem to his left, hands over to Cartalis. Now this is Mick. Mick for the 3-pointer, no good. Skies up the rebound, and it's won by Carisi. Here comes York looking to run the other way. Hartley almost had it taken away and now does. Desteem ends up falling right into his hands. Finds Cartalis in the corner, drives baseline, puts it up, and gets the friendly rim.
Yeah, Cartalis has been the best offensive player for the Dolphins tonight by far. He now has 17.
Leads all scorers in this one. Inside give, and we have a foul whistled on the floor before the shot. As interfering with Chisholm was Rigo Desteem. That's his third. And now the Dolphins with 3 fouls to Desteem, Joe Ziris, and James Delahanty.
Yeah, so the Dolphins starting to get themselves in foul trouble. Desteem comes to the bench.
Velasquez will come in for him. Velasquez has 2 fouls. Chisholm now with 15 on the shot clock. Barks out signals he wants a screen. finds Carisi. Carisi back over to Chisholm. His pass was intercepted. It was deflected by Latunji into the hands of Kopech. Kopech across court. Cartalis to Velasquez. In the corner, Kopech for three. That's good.
Big three-pointer by Christian Kopech, his first basket of the game. Dolphin lead back to 14.
And a quick foul whistled against the Dolphins. This will be against Latunji. That's his second. Get another look at that open look three-pointer from Kopech that he's able to bury. Dolphins 6 of 17 from three-point range.
That's just the third three-pointer for Christian this year, Dave, in 30 attempts.
Intercepted by Cartalis to Velasquez. Looking for some help at first. Short jumper, no good. Rebound bounces around into the hands of Velasquez again. Cartalis thought about a long-range three, instead gives over to Kopech for three!
Another three-pointer there by Christian coming into the game tonight, Dave. He had just made two. He's made two in the last minute.
Dolphins on an 8-0 run. Biggest lead of the game. Foul whistled underneath against the Dolphins. That's their 5th personal here in the first 4 minutes and 14 seconds. It's against Velasquez, his 3rd. And we're going to have a break here for a media timeout. 15:46 to go. Second half. Dolphins with their biggest lead, 52-35. More CSI men's basketball action after this. Mike, something to consider, too, is that John Jay only has 1 timeout left.
Latunji feeding the ball back up to Desteve. His open three-pointer is good!
Now the Dolphins have complete control. John Jay's just used their final timeout, Mike.
Dave, what a big game for Rigo Desteve here tonight for the Dolphins. Rigo now 6 of 11 from the field, including 5 of 9 from the three-point line.
Every big shot, every home game, all season long. Catch all of the action live at CSI Sportsnet.
Welcome back here to the Tank, the campus of the College of Staten Island. The Dolphins trying to win back-to-back games for the first time since November 23rd. The Dolphins beating Medgar Evers on Saturday, 96-95, and they have their biggest lead against York College, 52-35 here in the early moments of the second half.
You know, Dave, York was able to cut the Dolphin lead down to 9, 44-35. But since then, the Dolphins have gone on an 8-0 run, and Christian Kopech, who hit just 2 of his first 33-point attempts, has now hit his last 2, 6 big points in the second half for Christian, and that's really helped open the Dolphin lead back up to 17.
Christian did not want to be reminded of his three-point shooting, Mike. Inside give, and there's a nice look for Akil Vaughn, but not being able to finish was Carisi, and the Dolphins will get a chance here to extend their lead.
Yeah, Carisi was wide open, Dave, and I think he thought he was under a little bit more pressure, missed the easy one.
Mick gets a screen, gives over to Velasquez. Velasquez for 3, no good, and Vaughn scores the rebound. Rebound number 7 for Akil Vaughn. That leads York. Now a long three-point attempt, air ball there by Hartley Jr. And Mike, that's got to be the 3rd or 4th air ball that York has put up from beyond the arc.
Yeah, and I think they started out, Dave, hitting their first 3 shots here in the second half. Now they've missed their last 4, and they've also turned the ball over 3 more times.
York is a 34% three-point shooting team, and they are just 1 of 8 here tonight. Austin Mick gains the baseline, finds Cartalis in the corner, stops for a short jumper, in and out. He was fouled. And it will be against number 11, Jay Bookhart, and that's going to be his 4th personal foul.
Yeah, so Bookhart picks up his 4th. York now has their 3rd team foul, and Andrew Cartalis will go back to the free throw line. He's 4 of 5 from the line as part of his 17 points, make it 5 or 6.
Bookhart has not fouled out of a game this season. Dolphins with their biggest lead, and Cartalis now with 18, misses the second. Vaughn gets the rebound. Now all the way in and missing was Hartley Jr. as his struggles continue. And Austin Mick. They give over to Kopech. Back over to Mick as the Dolphins will reset. Lots of handing off in the backcourt. Mick ends up with it with 10 seconds on the shot clock. Mick, the bounce over to Kopech. Now Velasquez gets fronted. 3 on the shot clock. Lets loose a three-pointer.
Yeah, 19-point lead now for the Dolphins, Dave, and they did everything they wanted on that sequence. They ran the shot clock all the way down before Velasquez buried the 3.
So the Dolphins up by 19 points. Now driving inside is Divine Chisholm, and he was fouled by Kopech. Kopech does not like the call, but there was plenty of contact there as we see with the shot clock winding down, the three-point make by Velasquez.
Yeah, Velasquez with his first three-pointer of the afternoon. He now has 5 points, as it's going to be Divine Chisholm to go back to the free throw line. He'll have 2 shots coming up here. 16 fouls on the Dolphins with 13:51 remaining in this second half.
And first one is good for Chisholm, and that narrows the deficit and puts a damper on the Dolphins' 12-2 run that they've pieced together. York will bring some waves of substitutions, kind of wondering where Guillermo Hernandez was, and he's now back. He had a good stretch in the first half, and he's going to be joined by Jean-Luc Eten.
Yeah, he hit a shot, Dave, and had 5 rebounds in 6 minutes. And gets back out on the floor.
Second free throw is good. Dolphins up by 19. Velasquez, cross court, Kopech, Mick, left open for 3 at first. Bounce pass to Cartalis, a little bit off the mark. Velasquez has it, now Mick. They continue to work in the perimeter. Mick losing it against the double team. Chisholm now has it. And he gets stripped. And Velasquez has his pass stripped. And we're going to have a foul on Velasquez as he went flying to try and get to that loose ball. Just an inadvertent trip. Velasquez is going to pick up his 4th foul.
Yeah, Dave, that time Chris kind of lost the handle as he tried to throw that outlet pass. And in his effort to try to make up for flubbing the outlet pass, kind of dove into basketball and picked up the foul. But like you mentioned, Dave, now 4 fouls for Chris. It looks like he's going to come over to the floor, over to the bench. 4 fouls in 10 minutes for Velasquez.
Joe Cusimano on the court, mopping things up. As we had the spill in the backcourt, and now they finally get ready for the free throws. No good. As on the 1-on-1 attempt, York cannot capitalize. York already in the bonus. We are just over 6 minutes into the second half. Now this is Cartalis for 3, and he nails it.
Boy, Andrew having probably his best offensive game of the year, Dave. He's now over 21 points on 7 of 14 shooting.
Career high 21 for Andrew Cartalis. His previous best was 19 done last season. He had 18 in the game against Medgar Evers this season and has topped that, obviously. Dolphins up by 22. It's their biggest lead. Mick, Kopech. Around the arc they go, Destine. Cartalis for 3 again. No good. And popping up to get the rebound is Vaughn. Akil Vaughn has 9 rebounds. Chance of defense come up from the CSI cheerleaders. Out of control was Chisholm and misses the layup and the foul by Hernandez.
Yeah, that time Hernandez trying to grab the offensive rebound but stepped in a little bit too late as he's going to pick up his first foul for the Cardinals. That's going to be their 4th team foul, so the Dolphins will get to inbound the basketball and done a nice job here in the second half, outscoring York College 17-10 and opening up their lead to 22.
Destine over to Mick. Mick now with a long-range 3 of his own, and that one's good. Dolphins are starting to feel it from downtown now.
Dave, the Dolphins 5 of 8 from the three-point line here in the second half to build their biggest lead of the game.
10 of 23 for the game for the Dolphins. Whistle, and we might have an offensive foul. We will. It's against Vaughn as you get another look at the open look three-pointer for Mick. We're going to have an official timeout on the floor as we get set to throw it to commercial break. The Dolphins lead grows and grows. It's up to 25. The Dolphins up 62-37, 11:55 left, second half. Stay with us.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Welcome back here to the Tank. You just saw a commercial for Hobra Taco Joint. I want to thank owner Rob Casatelli and all the folks at Hobra and the Kettle Black for their continued sponsorship. Joe Foreman and I will be at Hobra next month to interview CSI head coach Eric Kraut of the CSI women's softball team, newly appointed softball coach for CSI, part of the Coaches Show on CSI Sportsnet.
And Dave, Eric stepping into a tough situation with a very successful softball team, and really can't wait to see what he does with this team here in 2020.
Next thing you know, we'll be in spring. Actually, spring sports start this weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. After CSI miss on their turn up the floor, here comes York looking to cut into a huge deficit. Hernandez blocked by Latunji. Ball almost went out of bounds. Desteem able to save it.
Dave, the Cardinals scored 5 out of the first 7 points to make it a 9-point game here in the second half. Since then, it's been an 18-2 Dolphin run.
Yeah, it's been all CSI and sparked primarily via the three-pointer. Couple by Christian Kopak, couple by Andrew Cartalis, Austin Mick getting into the fold. Now a bounce pass to Latunji, who's been pretty quiet here in the second half. Free throw line, mid-range jumper, no good. And York all over the rebound, that's Chisholm.
Dolphins were 28 seconds off the shot clock on that possession, Dave.
That certainly be a focus. York is already in the bonus here. Less than halfway through the second half. Hernandez working against Latunji, looking for space, can't find any. Chisholm now gets into the paint, finds an open E10 who missed the three-pointer. And the Dolphins will once again slow things down on their side of the floor. Desteem, bounce pass over to Cartalis. Mick gets it back. We approach 10 on the shot clock. Mick now, left-handed dribble, gets over to Desteem. Finds a wide open Christian Kopak for three.
Christian on fire from the three-point line here in the second half. He has 9 points, all from the three-point line.
Dolphins up by 28 points. They led by 15 at the break. Bounce pass to Hernandez. Cross court, too strong the pass. That's another York turnover.
Yeah, that's going to be turnover number 27 for the Cardinals, Dave. 7 here in this second half. As York having all kinds of problems scoring here this afternoon. The York ladies scored just 39 points in their game, and York with just 37 with just 9:29 remaining here in this second half.
Desteem with the handoff to Mick. Gets it over to Kopak. Thought about a three, slows it down. This is Desteem trying to work inside. Opts out to Latunji. They reset the offense. Latunji shakes at the top of the free throw line, takes another jumper, no good. Latunji now 3 of 11 from the floor. And now for a quick three-point attempt the other way, no good. Foul called on York College.
Yeah, that's going to be a loose ball foul called on the Cardinals, Dave, as they pick up their 6th team foul with 9 minutes remaining in the game, as that foul is going to be on Wesley Cherry, who checked into the game. That's going to be his first, as the Cardinals, obviously frustrated, Dave, really struggling to score here in the second half, just 10 points through the first 11 minutes.
Yeah, and it has been frustrating. We have a timeout called by CSI. It is a full timeout, so we will step aside, take a break. When we come back, more CSI men's basketball action right here live from the tank. It's the Dolphins 65 and York 37.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
We are back here at the tank. The CSI Dolphins with a commanding 28-point advantage here with exactly 9 minutes to play in the second half.
Yeah, Dave, I don't know if anybody could have anticipated a second half like this one, but Dolphins now on a 21-2 run and really playing well, really doing a good job defensively. They're frustrating York. York is turning the ball over, and even with those couple opportunities when York's been able to get the ball inside, they haven't been able to finish.
Yeah, the Dolphins have just been putting a lot of pressure on York all game long, as evidenced by those gaudy turnover numbers. York with 27 turnovers. Andrew Cartalis working on a career game. Christian Kopak almost lost it, and travel violation on Kopak.
Yeah, so the Dolphins turn the ball over, Dave, now for the 14th time here this afternoon. They're outscoring York 32-9 in points off of turnovers.
Wow. Hartley Jr. Almost another errant pass. Gets it over to Bookhart. Bookhart, a long two-pointer, no good. Kopak with a rebound.
Cardinals now, Dave, 3 of 13 from the field here in the second half.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Dolphins have cut into the rebounding advantage for York. It's now 30-29 in favor of the Cardinals. This is Mick now. Finds an open Kopak. Now Velasquez behind the back dribble. We're running short of the shot clock here. Velasquez with a long three, no good. And a turnover. Velasquez is able to get the steal and the layup.
Yeah, so the Dolphins' lead goes up to 30 now as Velasquez with 7 as the Dolphins' dominance in the second half continues.
And the Dolphins now with 34 points off of York turnovers. And there's a spot-up baseline jumper for York by Hartley Jr. as his tough day continues. He's now 0 for 6 from the floor. And now we have our media timeout inside of 8 minutes to play. Mike, let's keep it right here since we just had a commercial break before it. Talk a little bit about the spring lineup that's upcoming. While this game was starting, Mike, we had the CSI baseball team in the auxiliary gym, so they're getting set for spring training. That'll come up at the end of this month. That we mentioned softball will be starting in this spring as well. And CSI men's tennis under new coach Paul Riccardi, new old coach Paul Riccardi in his second go-around with the Dolphins. They actually open up this Sunday against Wagner College at 8 p.m. indoors at the CSI Tennis Center. It's hard to believe that spring has sprung in early February.
Yeah, you know, Dave, we're in February, like you mentioned already. Hard to believe. Basketball season winding down, and, you know, we love those spring sports. Get tennis going, get softball and baseball going, and, you know, again, a lot of optimism as all of those programs do, what all the other programs are doing, Dave. Building, continuing to prepare to go into Division II next year.
Yeah, and speaking of building, the CSI men's tennis team, which will start on Sunday, Mike, from what we hear, the early returns in practice, they have a stellar team that they are putting together. They're definitely one of the favorites, I guess, within the CUNY this season, coming off a very good season last year. Dolphins got 2 international recruits that have come into the building, and both hold exciting promise. So there's a lot of good vibes centered around our tennis team. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love tennis and how much I love it here at the College of Staten Island, and I try to get out and watch as much as I can, and I'm really, really super excited to see the future of our tennis program in Division II. And then at the end of this month, Mike, I'll actually be in Myrtle Beach with the men's baseball team getting set for their 3-day, 6-game swing down there. So almost seems hard to believe last few doubleheaders of basketball will give way to spring.
Yeah, you know, always a lot of excitement, and I'm sure head coach Mike Morrow is going to have the baseball team ready to go, and hopefully that we'll get some nice weather early in the season, both down in South Carolina and when the team comes back up to New York.
Wesley Cherry, who had stepped in as a freshman on the last break, scores his first points of the evening. The Dolphins back up by just 28. Here comes an alley-oop. It was missed time, but Latunji's able to get down on it and then put it right back up for the quick layup.
Yeah, Adiola with a basket now. He's got 11. That's the Dolphin lead back to 30.
Yeah, Dolphins, with the exception of Cartalis, have been very balanced all over the score, well over the box score tonight. Another turnover. I don't know if they'll count that as a turnover or missed basket for York underneath their end.
And just going back to the spring sports for a second, Dave, nice to have Paul Riccardi back in the fold as head coach. The men's tennis team has had success under Paul in the past, and no reason to expect they won't have success in the future.
Yep, can't wait for that. And, you know, you mentioned Mike Morrow, who is now the longest tenured CSI head coach on staff, and then we have the shortest tenured head coach on staff, and Eric Kraut, who will also be on in the spring. So a nice collection of coaching in our spring sports, and of course the sports that get kind of left out because they're always away from campus is track and field. You know, indoor season is coming to an end under first-year head coach Andrew Gangemi, and I think they take a 2 or 3 week break, and then they're right back outside. Pretty much the same units taking place outside, and Dolphins indoor track and field team, I believe at last count, have set 29 school records during the indoor season. So they're a very young program, obviously only in their second varsity season, but as the weeks go by, the records continue to fall. Dolphins are in good hands with Coach Gangemi as well.
Yeah, and, you know, track is really exciting. People don't realize even the cross-country action is a lot of fun to go watch. So if you get a chance to see it, indoors or out, it's something that you'll really enjoy.
So while we talk about that, more basketball being played here. The Dolphins have really run away with this one, up by 32.
Yeah, and we're going to have an offensive foul now called on the Cardinals, Dave, as I believe that'll be on Awali Keela, who's going to pick up his second, 8th team foul on the Cardinals, so the Dolphins will get to inbound with 6:09 remaining, and Dolphins opening up a huge lead in this game. So barring some kind of incredible comeback, the Dolphins with a very successful night here at the Tank. Both the men's and women's basketball team really playing strong defense, Dave, and using that to trigger big victories.
Brian Gomez has entered for the Dolphins. And Latunji spots up for a mid-range jumper. Latunji really needed that one.
Yeah, you know he wasn't going to stay quiet forever, Dave, as he's hit his last 2 shots now and is up to 13.
Now there's a long jumper the other way, and finally getting into the field goal column is Hartley Jr. He was 0 for 7 to that point from the field, had hit on a couple of free throws, but that's about it. Latunji now all the way, and he gets stripped, but Kopech is there to pick up the pieces. Now Mick and Gomez. Gomez driving in, might have lost his footing, looking for some help, finds it in Latunji. He gives over to Mick. Mick, an open look, three-point attempt, and that one's good.
Yeah, that's 3 or 4 times here in the later stages of the second half. The Dolphins wind the shot clock down under 10 and hit the three-pointer.
So for Mick, he's got 9, all beyond the arc, and there's an easy lay in that time for Bookhart, who now has 6 points. Dolphins, who don't ever really go deep into their bench, tend to use their entire bench, have officially done so in this one. Brian Gomez, the ball handler, the last Dolphin to get into the game. Can't miss him with those pink sneakers he's got on. Dolphins will retain possession here. I know we mentioned it during pregame, especially of the women's game, but the Dolphins, after tonight, with just 4 games remaining on the schedule, the first 2 on the road as Kopech puts one up short for 3. The first 2 on the road at Lehman and at Brooklyn, and then they finish up at home against Hunter on the 12th, so a little over a week from tonight. And then Baruch is senior day, or senior night, I should say, on February 18th at 7:30. This is Mick now to Kopech. Driving, baseline, off the glass and in.
Yeah, Christian really having a strong offensive second half. He now has 11 in the second half, 78-43.
So nice game for Christian Kopech. And we are going to have our last official media timeout, so we will step aside, take a break. Dolphins up by a bunch. 3:52 remaining in the second half. Stay with us. More basketball coming up after this.
Now Taylor looks to drive, and a beautiful bounce pass finished on the slam by Adeola Latunji. What a feed by Christian Taylor.
It was such a beautiful play, and Christian saw it, came open, put in the perfect bounce pass, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead.
Jumper no good. And Christian Taylor gets the rebound. We're under 2 minutes to play. Touchdown pass. Cartel drop off to Latunji. Nice bit of ball movement by the Dolphins. The first pass from Taylor to Cartalis, and then Cartalis to Latunji.
Every highlight reel finish, every home game, all season long. Catch all of the live action on CSI Sportsnet.
Welcome back here to the Tank, the campus of the College of Staten Island. 3:52 remaining in the second half. The Dolphins with a 35-point lead. They led by 15 at the break. And, you know, Mike, even with a big halftime lead, TJ Tibbs came over, challenged his team to play better in the second half, knew that there was a lot to clean up and a lot that he wanted to see from his team in the second half. I think they've shown him.
Yeah, I think they have, Dave. And, you know, the Dolphins broke that 3-game losing streak against Medgar Evers. They played very well offensively. They scored 96 points in that game. They're already up to 78 points in this game. And, you know, that's been the key for the Dolphins all year long. They've played hard all year long. They've played good defense all year long, but it's been those streaky periods where they've been unable to score that's really hurt them in a lot of games. Here tonight, very solid defensively, another good game offensively, and, you know, they find themselves with a big lead with just 3:52 remaining in the game.
Bookhart makes his first free throw. With the clock stopped, obviously, York appreciative of all the chances here to cut into this lead. Velasquez now got extended time with some early foul trouble that the Dolphins faced. In the corner to Mick. Mick finding space. Gomez thought about a 3, instead goes inside. Nice move by Brian Gomez.
Yeah, beautiful move that time by Gomez as he gets his first points of the game.
So now Delahanty, who's also in the game, the only Dolphin without points in this game. Cross court, Bookhart turned it over, gave it right into the hands of Mick, who converged on him along with Delahanty.
31 turnovers now for the Cardinals.
Yikes. Gomez over to Velasquez. Velasquez spots up a long-range 2, no good, and that ball will just dribble out of bounds. TJ Tibbs not liking the shot selection that time by Velasquez with plenty of time remaining on the shot clock. Velasquez with 7 points in this game, 13 minutes of action. York now, nice strong drive inside by Carisi. He's got 5 on the night. Mentioned in the pregame, York has had some problems scoring in this recent last week and a half or so against CUNY competition. That's continued here today.
Yeah, and this is a big loss for the Cardinals, Dave. They're like a half game ahead of Medgar Evers in the standings for that 6th and final spot, and they're going to drop that game here tonight, so should be interesting for those two teams heading down the stretch.
Yeah, and obviously the games against CSI do not count for these teams within the CUNY, Mike, but again, they're litmus tests of sorts, and Medgar catapulted ahead of York in the standings in the CUNY, but those two teams are battling for the 5th and 6th spots in the playoffs. The CUNY postseason, the first 2 teams get first-round byes, and then 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5.
Dan, one thing we've learned in the CUNYAC tournament, Dave, especially on the men's side, is really doesn't matter where you're seated. Once you're in the tournament, you have a shot.
Absolutely. As partially blocked shot, that's going to be the Dolphins' ball, Mike, as Velasquez's three-pointer was partially tipped and the ball went out of bounds. Might want to get a replay ready here, Joe, just in case they go to the videotape and want to see who was last touched on.
And they reset the shot clock, Dave, as well.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Oh, yeah, but that was an air ball. Yeah, it doesn't make too much sense. Inside give was to Delahanty off the fingertips of Cherry. Delahanty, the only Dolphin not in the scoring column. He's played 12 minutes. He does have a couple of rebounds. At the top of the arc, there's Delahanty for 3. And Kopeck with the follow, no good. And if Delahanty would have hit that 3, this place would have went nuts.
Yeah, they were ready.
And coast to coast, no good. Cherry with the offensive board and the putback. And the lead cuts to 31 here as Cherry getting some quality time here in the waning moments. Gomez had his back heel on the line. That's going to be a turnover for the Dolphins, number 15 for CSI tonight.
Yeah, Dolphins have really limited the turnovers in the second half, Dave, while forcing another 12 from the Cardinals, who are up to an incredible 32 turnovers.
All the way in, and a turnover for York. Make
it 33.
33. Yeah, and I checked the record books. There's no record for, amount of turnovers in a single game. It's not a record that's kept here at CSI. But considering the fact that the Dolphins defensively have had 28 steals in a game, I think that the record is probably more than 33. So we're under a minute to play here in regulation. Delahanty underneath, and now he's in the scoring column. Everybody scores here for the Dolphins in this one as they are up 82-49. Short jumper in the lane, no good by Carisi. Tried to get his own rebound. He does come up with it, looking for some space, and finally finds Bookhart. Bookhart hit the side of the backboard, no good, and now with 7-second differential between shot and game. Now all that's in question is the final score. Hard to believe, Mike, the Dolphins falling to York earlier this season by 15 have a 33-point win that they're looking at here in this one. See if the Dolphins even get off a final shot. They're going to have to take one, otherwise they'll be guilty of a shot clock violation. And it will be. So 6.5 left in regulation. Dolphins give it over.
Dolphins playing well defensively, Dave. They've just allowed 49 points in this game. Their previous low was 57.
And so that'll do it. That's a wrap. The Dolphins with an 82-49 win. As Mike mentioned, a tremendous defensive performance for the Dolphins. They forced 33 York turnovers in this one, and perhaps the final time these two teams will ever meet. The Dolphins take the win. They avenge a regular season loss earlier in the season, the same way they did on Saturday against Medgar Evers. You see the final score was one-sided from midway through the first period on. And, Mike, the Dolphins have a winning streak.
Yeah, the Dolphins have now won 2 in a row, Dave. They're starting to get hot. And, these games are very important for the CSI Dolphin team. They have 4 games remaining on this season, and they're going to look 500 record is out of the question, but they're going to look to get as close as possible here in 2020, Dave.
Yeah, and we're going to be joined by Andrew Cartalis. Andrew picked a nice night to have a career high, 21 points for you. How comfortable were you feeling back there?
Very comfortable, but appreciate it. Very comfortable. My teammates and coaching staff put a lot of confidence in me, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, this team hadn't won back-to-back games for a long time. Seemed like after that win against Medgar, the team really felt a lot more confidence, avenging a regular season loss from earlier in the season. You guys had that same obstacle in front of you tonight. How did you guys feel coming away from that high-scoring affair on Saturday?
We came out with... we brought a lot of energy right back after that game, so we just brought it here and made some shots.
Andrew, the team played very well defensively tonight. You forced 33 turnovers and allowed a season-low 49 points. Did you guys come out with a focus on the defensive end here tonight?
Yeah, definitely. We wanted to pressure the ball most of the game, press them full court, and just run and jump.
And you have 4 games remaining in the regular season, all against CUNYAC conference opponents. What are you guys looking to do in these last 4 games?
Just get back to practice, back to work, and hopefully come out with wins.
All right, Andrew, congratulations on a big night for you personally and a big win for the team.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Andrew Cartalis, very dynamic young man. Probably best days of basketball still very much ahead of him, but he picked a good night, Mike, to have a career high, 21 points. He shot 2 of 6 from downtown, but 7 of 15 overall, 5 of 7 from the line, 5 steals as well. That led the team. He did a nice job.
He really did, Dave. And, whenever we talk about this men's basketball team, it always seems to start with defense. And you look at the 33 turnovers that the Dolphins were able to force here tonight. They held York to 39% shooting in the game and really just played a strong game, Dave. And in the second half, York was able to draw within 9, but the Dolphins went on a 23-2 run from that point forward, and the Dolphins able to blow out this game here tonight and really put themselves in position. A 2-game winning streak. They'll travel on the road. They'll go to Lehman College, then on the road against Brooklyn, then Hunter and Baruch. 4 quality CUNYAC opponents to finish the regular season for the Dolphins, and really looking forward to all 4 of those games.
Absolutely. So the Dolphins, of course, will try to avenge some more regular season losses from earlier in the year, much like they did tonight. This one was one-sided, a tremendous victory for CSI. Once again, your final score, 82-49 over York College. That's a wrap for us, for everybody here at the College of Staten Island, for our statisticians across the way, Joe Foreman and Sam Flecker, for our engineer, Joe Masha, our camera operator, Rebecca DeLoya. For Mike Babusky, I'm David Pizzuto, wishing you a very good night. Once again, your final score, 82-49, College of Staten Island. Thanks for joining us.